I would highly recommend that you don't approach this from an attitude of husband hunting, seeking out a guy, any guy, to marry you and give you what you want. You're not going to have a happy, stable, successful life if you are with the wrong mate. Don't settle for anyone who's not compatible with you. Everybody, hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. If this is your first time visiting, welcome to the channel, and to all my returning subscribers and viewers, thank you for being part of the feminine family and welcome to the bedroom today. But today I really want to address the question that I receive all the time, which is how can you become a homemaker too? Today I'm going to give you some tips and pointers that will hopefully point you in that direction. And of course I want to remind you all that we are respectful of all different life paths on this channel. I don't believe everyone has to become a homemaker. I am merely making this video for women who desire that for their life. Being a homemaker has been such a joy in my life. It is such a peaceful serenity to be at home, to focus on our life together as a family. Just as I could not guarantee you a specific career in a specific field, I cannot guarantee you that you will become a homemaker or even get married someday, but I can give you the tools you need to start heading down that path and point in that direction. So my first tip is, of course, you need a husband. Sometimes I see people comment on my channel that their mother had no choice but to work because she was a single mom, and to that I say, well, of course. What else would you do? I think it's wonderful for people to provide for their families and to show that survival mentality that humans have had for thousands of years. I don't think that everyone will get the opportunity to be a homemaker, and I'm well aware that it is a privilege to be at home. Now, the key here is that you can't just find anybody to do this with you, because not everyone's going to want a homemaker or a stay-at-home mom for a wife. A lot of men expect their wives to work, especially in 2019. We do not live in the 1950s anymore, and it is actually more common to find career women than homemakers in our modern world. So when you're focused on getting married, I highly encourage you to seek out men who are most likely going to want that lifestyle too. I am a Christian. I love all my non-Christians on my channel and people of all religions, but because of that, I do have beliefs firmly rooted in the concept of free will. I do not believe we should coerce or force anyone to do something that they do not want to do. And this applies to the area of husbands and homemaking as well. Do not force a man to fit your vision of what you want. If your man does not want that lifestyle, don't marry him with the intention of changing his mind. Choose someone who's going to be compatible for you. And my best advice for this is that someone who's going to be compatible for you will most likely be traditional, conservative, or religious, or a combination of all three of those things. Traditional, conservative, or religious men are much more likely to be family focused, less progressive, and more traditional with gender roles in a marriage. So when you're searching for a husband, make sure you're keeping your eyes peeled for a more traditional man. Now, of course, it's the age-old question, how do we find a traditional man? And that information shall be saved for another video. But men who had a homemaker for a mother are usually going to be more open to having that for their family. Or on the flip side, men who didn't have a homemaker for a mother but want that for their kids will also be eager to marry a woman who wants that for her life. Don't write someone off just because they don't come from a traditional background or family. We have a lot of shifting happening in 2019, and I've noticed a huge movement of people without traditional backgrounds desiring to live a more traditional life. So a way to identify if a man is open to being married to a homemaker is to find out about his background, but also his beliefs. Figure out his religious beliefs, his political beliefs, and his worldview. Narrow in on who he is as a person and what he visualizes for his life. In 2019, not a lot of men are going to come out and say the truth that they want a wife who stays home, because it's been painted as a very negative thing to want that traditional aspect in your life. Think about your own journey towards deciding that you wanted to become a homemaker. For some of us, we grew up already wanting that, but for other people, it was a journey. If the man in your life has to journey towards those beliefs as well, give him the time he needs. If you are married already but you wish to become a homemaker in the future and maybe stop your 9-to-5 job, my best advice for you is to go about it gently and honestly with your husband. Share with him your visions, your ideas, your feelings of how you feel your job is going, what you want for your future, and offer some supplemental options. You don't have to cut down from a career to nothing overnight. Consider part-time work, freelance work, or anything that kind of makes things more bearable for your family. Talk things over with him, and remember too, a lot of this is going to be dependent on the cost of living for where you live. Be very aware that living in Los Angeles is going to be different from living in my little small town as a one-income family. Set up your life and your life plan, and even maybe consider a location change if that's what's necessary to achieve your mutual dream of having a traditional family. You're going to want to go about dating men in a more intentional way. You don't need to scare them, you don't need to be crazy, but don't waste your time. Set yourself up in such a way that you're not dating that guy who will never marry you. Don't date people with red flags, and don't date anyone with a sex, pornography, alcohol, drug, prescription pill, etc. addiction. Make sure the guy you're dating is going to be stable, vibrant, healthy, and compatible for your dreams and his dreams as well. Remember, this is not all about you. When you're a homemaker, it's about the family first and foremost. Your husband's dreams just as much as yours. And remember, this should be a joint mutual decision. I would highly recommend that you don't approach this from an attitude of husband hunting, seeking out a guy, any guy, to marry you and give you what you want. You're not going to have a happy, stable, successful life if you are with the wrong mate. Don't settle for anyone who's not compatible with you in the area of beliefs and worldview, future hopes, and emotional compatibility. But just as you would do if you were going to pursue a career, begin positioning yourself for those opportunities. Say yes to setups from your friends, meet men at the weddings you attend, make more connections at church, and in general, plug in a little bit harder to the social connections you have. Moving on to my second tip for becoming a homemaker is to prepare financially. Finances is as much a mindset as it is a state of being. Try to avoid debt as much as possible and be very aware of your financial decisions. Avoid credit card debt, student debt, and student loans, and make sure above all else that you are an active part in the budgeting within your life. You plan on being a stay-at-home mom and working a simple job and have no desire to pursue a career. Don't go to college and take on 6 figures worth of debt. Of course, this isn't to say college is not an option. I went myself and had a wonderful education that is benefiting me during this blogging and YouTube journey. It's going to be an individual choice on all of our parts, but the key is to not take on debt. Make sure that you go to college if it makes financial sense for you, but don't look down upon the options of community college for a few years, working a job, or even joining a volunteer opportunity like Teach for America, the Peace Corps, YWAM. There are so many opportunities after high school to spread your wings, get to know the world, and get to know yourself better without going into 6 figures worth of debt. Remember that if you take on that debt in college, that you need to work your career to pay it off for the rest of your life, potentially, or at least for the next 15 years. Be very mindful as an 18-year-old taking on debt. When you're a homemaker, it's going to be about being frugal. A frugal mindset is about saving more than spending. As you prepare to be a homemaker, deal with your current habits with finances. Ask yourself, how do you spend your money? Would someone want to make you their homemaker and have you in charge of the credit cards, or are you irresponsible? Never fear if you're irresponsible with credit cards, if you have a lot of debt, or even if you have a shopping addiction, you can get help. I highly encourage you to check out some of the links I have below to deal with things like a shopping addiction or extreme debt. But in general, please know that being a housewife homemaker is a viable option in 2019. It just includes a level of frugality. Yes, the cost of living has gone up, but I implore you to also remember that we buy a lot more in 2019 than almost ever before. A lady in the 1950s didn't have a box of clothes from ASOS arriving every 2 weeks, a smartphone, a Mac, Netflix subscription, Hulu subscription, cell phone plan, student loans, home loans, etc. It's expensive to live in 2019, but I will say we do a lot of that to ourselves. Learn how to budget, learn to live within your means, and learn to be content with what you have. The key to developing the right mindset in the area of finances before you become a homemaker is about learning to express gratitude. When you are living off of someone else's income, it is essential to express gratitude to them and to show your gratitude every day, especially to the Lord, for the wonderful circumstances you have. Having a grateful heart is key to being a homemaker, and it will help you when you're dealing with finances. Begin learning skills that will be useful when you're a homemaker. I make all of our food and we save so much money on restaurant bills or even groceries. I make a lot of things from scratch. I've learned how to build this blog, and I have a lot of friends who are artisan homemakers who weave blankets. One has a calligraphy business, the other one is an artist. We can make money from home, but you don't have to, especially when you have children. I truly believe that is a job unto itself. As far as finances as well, I need to add, a lot of people have expressed fear at becoming a homemaker in the event that your husband would either pass away or leave you, cheat on you, divorce you, etc. You would still be given half the income according to the courts. That's just how it works. And as far as death, that is what life insurance plans are often set up for. My husband and I have a good life insurance plan. As I said, he is a law enforcement officer, so we kind of need a good life insurance plan because it's a dangerous job. But I will say that many people have rightfully pointed out that if you become a homemaker, you will have a gap on your resume for the years that you are not working. And to this I say, absolutely. That is the cost of being a homemaker. There are costs that come with being a career woman that might take a toll on family life. And when you're a homemaker, the cost comes at the expense of your career life. There's no such thing as a Diet Coke life where you get all the sweetness and sugar with 0 calories. Anything you choose in life is going to be saying no to something else. And to me, that's not a bad thing. If I ended up being 45 and I decided I wanted to go back to work, I would go back to work and start from the bottom. That's the price I would pay for spending 20 glorious years at home and not in an office. Everything has a cost, and you're going to have to decide what it's worth to you. Finally, my last piece of advice for becoming a homemaker is to prepare mentally. You must prepare yourself mentally for living an alternative lifestyle. Surprise, surprise, my lifestyle as a traditional homemaker is much more alternative and punk rock than any other lifestyle in 2019. I do stick out like a sore thumb on the internet for my lifestyle and our beliefs, but I wouldn't have it any other way, and that's the key. You're going to need to prepare yourself mentally for any conflict or problems you run into with disagreeing family, friends, or even people on the internet. Knowing what you want out of life and pursuing it despite the persecution of others is a true mark of a strong heart, soul, and mind. If you cannot handle people disagreeing with you or your lifestyle, being a homemaker might not be for you, but another option is to always move to a place where it's more acceptable. Many men even will think you're nuts, or they'll pass you over and want a wife who will make them a lot of money. But don't be discouraged. There are still many traditional men out there, and there actually is a growing movement of men who want more traditional lifestyles. Oftentimes too, after they finish their 20s, a lot of men will come back around and decide they want a more traditional lifestyle than the one they were previously leading. Visualize your life and the things you want to do as a homemaker and begin preparing in your own little ways. Learn new skills and acquire things that you can take with you into your new role as a homemaker. Learn how to bake bread. I do have a video about that too. But also learn how to learn from home and develop as an individual without depending on school or university or a career. We can all grow as individuals and learn as much as we want from home, more even than a lot of people, and it is a great blessing. Learn right now to not be overly dependent on entertainment like social media and Netflix in your downtime, and instead learn to be productive. Plan your life in such a way that you are pushing into your most healthy, vibrant, and productive version of yourself, so that you will be the vibrant matriarch of your future family. Marriage is difficult, and I don't think it's for everybody, but I do believe that if you have a lot of leftover trauma from your childhood, hard things that have happened to you, that it is often wise to get help today to prepare yourself mentally for your future relationships. Many of the traumas and pains we experience in life manifest in our relationships, and if you want a viable, stable, healthy marriage in your future, the best thing you can do is deal with your current mental and emotional struggles. Work on yourself so you can be a joy to be around. You don't need to be perfect, but this is about you blossoming into your adult femininity. And as you become a homemaker, you will need to be very grounded in who you are and what you believe. If you run into conflict with your friends, family, or even your parents about your desires, perhaps they think you're not reaching high enough, I highly encourage you to share your beliefs in a gentle and peaceful manner, but don't look to change anyone's mind. More often than not, people are not willing to change their mind through a simple discussion, and it is more exhausting than energizing to enter into those discussions. I encourage you to just live through action instead of words, and to simply live out the joy in your life. And if you and your husband choose as a mutual team for you to become a homemaker, live in that peace as a couple and don't expect other people to understand. It can be disappointing when our loved ones do not understand us or even abandon us or reject us for our lifestyles. But the real tragedy would be to live a life inauthentic to your true dreams, hopes, and God's calling for your life. Remember that we will experience adversity in this life, and sometimes that does come from the very people we love around us. I encourage you, if that's what you are going through right now, to remember that you can live your life and be a light to people around you, even if other people disagree with you. You don't need to put up with abuse or cruelty or anything of the sort. If someone is being overly cruel to you, even if they are a parent, I highly encourage you to set healthy boundaries and to get the help you need to cope with that stress. And again, if you have an addiction to shopping, sex, pornography, alcohol, drugs, prescription pills, or anything that could jeopardize your future relationships, I highly encourage you to get help. Being a homemaker does mean you are dependent on your husband for a lot of things, and you are going to want that relationship to be as solid as possible, which is difficult with addictions and emotional and mental wounds. The thing that makes me the happiest is when women meet their potential and feel serenity within them, and that can be achieved at home. I don't think everyone is cut out to be a homemaker, but I do know that many of you desire that lifestyle very deeply. So in total, look for a husband who shares your dream. Make sure that you are prepared financially and you're not a liability. And finally, make sure you are set up with the right mindset, ready to deal with that conflict, but also prepared as a vibrant individual to live out the life of a homemaker. But in total, if you liked the video, please click the like button. It does help grow the community and get our videos out there. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing and joining the feminine family. We also have merch available. It's linked below, and I have affiliate links for all the products I would recommend. If you're interested, please check out my written blog. I write 3 times a week. And of course, feel free to follow me on Instagram and take a peek into my daily life. In total, I hope that you have a wonderfully blessed and feminine week, my future homemakers.